Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. As you must have seen the title of this video and the thumbnail, that in this video we will be talking about something to do with the involvement of the 8th house, 12th house and the dance of the gods. So what do I mean by that? So guys, in this video I will be sharing my personal experience, something in connection with these two entities which I just mentioned, and trust me, I do not have any inclination towards just sharing the tidbits of my life. Had I wanted to do that, I would have already done that on Instagram, or I would have done that with a very clear and concise title of this video, that vlog, my travel to this place. But in this video there is something which I experienced, which is somehow very much informational for the genre of this channel. That is the only reason I'm sharing this in this video. Along with that, guys, you know this thing that ever since I did some social experiment in the letters of my name. I even wrote that through a post in order to explain you that okay, what is the relevance of it, and only if I will experiment it first in my life on myself, then only I will have this authority to recommend it or suggest it to other people as well. So just take this video as a form of what I experienced, and I'm very much sure that you will also learn a lot from it. So guys, just because I already mentioned there's going to be a lot of storytelling in it, so first of all, to begin with, something about myself. So I do not know whether I mentioned this thing on my channel this thing before or not, but I originally come from Uttarakhand province in India. So guys, Uttarakhand, this is a province which has also been given a title of the land of the gods, like the way in Canada British Columbia is called as the most beautiful province. Same way this province is called as the land of the gods, and that makes sense as well, because you will find lot of the pilgrimage points, lot of the important places or temples of some of the important deities of Hinduism, like the way we have Badrinath over here, we have Kedarnath over here, we have Yamunotri, we have Gangotri, we have Haridwar, we have Rishikesh. So one thing is for sure, that this is a land which is called as the land of the gods. Second thing is that guys, in our Sanatan Dharma, apart from the God whom you worship, I get this question a lot many times in my consultation, that can you please tell me about which God shall I worship, who is my Ishta Devata. So guys, in our Sanatan Dharma, more than the Ishta Devata or any other god with whom you strongly resonate, Kul Devata and the Gram Devata plays a very pivotal role as well. Now when I say Kul Devata, there is going to be a god who will be showing its kindness to all the lineage in your family tree. And when I say the Gram Devata, that means every village where you come from. So all those villages also have one god which act as a protector. Like when we talk about in the older times, there used to be the spread of the epidemic, or there used to be any sort of harm which could fall upon any of the inhabitant of that village. So there used to be one Gram Devata or village god for that whole inhabitants of that village as well. Now comes my story. So guys, like the way it's very strange thing to say this thing, that being an astrologer by myself, being a devout Hindu by myself, I never got a chance to visit my ancestral place. It never happened. So just because my grandfather came from our village to the city, then my father he just spent there few years of his early childhood. Then he also came back, he did his engineering, he became an engineer with the government of India. So in short, my family never took me to our ancestral place. So now what happened, recently, only a couple of days back, when it was the Shani Jayanti, like Amavas, new moon, taking place in the Jesht month as per the Hindu lunar calendar. So what happened from the past couple of weeks, there has been these messages which are circulating in our family, like specifically those groups where my father is connected with, the family groups and all, which are connected with our ancestral village as well. So we got to know about this thing, that there is a ritual puja which will be done to commemorate, to honor the Gram Devata, like the village god, which in our case is the Lord Kal Bhairav, the ferocious form of the Lord Shiva. So like they were initially asking for that, okay, every family has to contribute their share, because they were not expecting it that just because we have never been there to the village, that we will be going there in person. So they knew this thing in the back of their mind, and they just insisted that, okay, you should contribute your part of share just to have that well-being within your family. So then when my dad told me about this thing, I said no, just because I'm here. So and like in September I'll be again moving back to Canada, so just because I'm here, I definitely want to see our ancestral village. Moreover, more than any other thing, I want to participate in this Gram Devata, Kul Devata Puja over there. So the whole thing happened, now you will see the beauty of the planets as well. The whole thing happened at a time of the Shani Amavas, because the very next day this puja was scheduled. Now if you watch my video, you would have heard this thing from me saying this thing, that whatever we do as a part of the ritual in the full moon, that is generally done in order to have that blessings and well-being within the family. And whatsoever rituals we do, whatever donations we make at a time of the new moon or the Amavasya, that goes to our ancestors. Now again guys, you have to understand this thing, that like there are like certain kind of things, certain kind of nature of problems which can be dealt with through the worship of your Ishta Devata, wearing gemstone and other remedies. But when we talk about certain kind of blockages, certain kind of problems in the life, for them asking for the blessing of your ancestors becomes very important. Like the way many people believe in this thing, that whatever worship we do towards our Ishta Devata and the gods, it benefit us on our spiritual plane, for our spiritual development and growth. But for the like tangible, physical continuity of our lineage, the worship of our ancestors or the Pitris becomes very important, and it is generally done on the new moon. So now this new moon, the Jesht Amavas Shani Jayanti, which took place on a Taurus sign, which as per my ascendant falls in the second house, which is again the house of your Kutumb, of your Parivar, of your family lineage and all. So definitely guys, we went there. Very soon you will get to know how the dots are getting connected. So we went there. The very first day was that, okay, and one more thing, when we reached there to our ancestral village, I went there for the very first time. I got to know that my grandfather used to be the head of the village, like there is a term called Pradhan. And just because we went there, like even my dad went there after 50 years. So even after that, there were like those elderly senior members of that village who right at the very first sight recognized my dad. And just because we went there to participate in that Gram Devata Puja, like the village gods prayer and ritual, seeking for the protection for the whole village. And one more thing guys, this generally happens in our village after every 18 years. Now this time, because they realized that the very senior members of the village are like getting extremely old, and they want that knowledge of our roots and ancestry to be passed down to the younger members of the village, along with those who have migrated to major and big cities. So this time only they conducted it in 15 years, like 3 years before its due schedule. So yes, when we went there, everyone recognized my family, and they insisted that the main host, in order to participate as a host, in order to do the ritual and all, that should be made my dad, because of the seniority within the family lineage and all. So it was a 5-day ritual in total. The very first 3 days where we participated, the very first day in the afternoon, it was all about honoring, commemorating all the gods, invoking them. Now the main thing happened in the night, regarding which I am uploading this video. So guys, what happened? Okay, there is one thing which you will only find taking place in the Uttarakhand province only, which is about in the night time we do the Jagran in order to do the singing, chanting, honoring the gods. But there is one thing called getting possessed by the god, like the way we say this thing, that okay, right at the time of the Jagran, in the night time, waking up and singing the glory, chanting the mantras and everything as a whole. So there are like certain people who get possessed by the gods. Like in a local colloquial language, we say this thing, that God came on that person, us par mata aa gayi, and that person got possessed by the god, astral entity, and then that person will start dancing, performing. There will be certain people who will put their request in front of that person who is under the guise, in the influence of that god right in that moment, and that person will also tell about that, okay, what exactly I wish for the safety and well-being of the village. Like, okay, you need to build a well on this corner, or you need to set up a temple on this corner, you need to do these boundaries in this corner, or you have to do this sacrifice of this animal on this day on this corner. So this is what we get to know, or like we generally know from the person who is going to be under the possession of a specific god. So guys, what happened, the daytime included all the fire ritual, which we call as Havan, and the chanting and invoking of the god. Now comes the night time. So I got to know about that, okay, in certain parts of the India we call it as the Jagran, and they say Jagri. So there are like certain people who are brought for that nighttime ritual, which are called as the Jagri. So now guys, everyone who were participating in that puja or the ritual was giving emphasis that the main highlight of this ritual is going to be taking place in the night time, which is called as the Jagran, as I mentioned. So over there will be a musician which have got expertise in only invoking the spirit or the gods within the people. So these are among those people who will be invited. They will perform and they will somehow invoke the gods within the people. Now guys, like the way we know this thing, that what kind of role music plays in our life. Like for example, there are like certain kind of songs and the music which makes us very sad. It invokes the feeling of the sadness. They're like those kind of music which invoke the feelings of motivation, of happiness, because of the way it has been sung, the way it has been lyrics. Same way guys, like these people have got expertise only in invoking the spirit, and I can assure you, right at the time when they were performing, I literally felt that kind of, you know, some sort of esoteric mystic feeling within me, like which generally only happens at a time when you're participating in a ritual which has something to do with the extra sensory perception, awareness, and these kind of, you know, paranormal activities and all. So now guys, right on that scheduled time when these guys came, they started performing. So I remember like right on the second day when I was ascending the ladder, like the stairs, and I was trying to reach the temple. Right from over there only, I heard a very strong scream of a woman. So I thought, okay, it might have been some practice, ritual or prayer which is taking place. Right at a time when I reached almost on the in the front of the temple, I saw one guy. He was dancing over there and he was screaming as well. Then with the whole procession, with the music and the band and all, he reached till the entrance of the temple premises. Over there they put a tilak on the forehead and commemorate his arrival. Now again, it was not the arrival of that guy, it was the arrival of the god within that person. So right at a time, and guys, you would not believe, right from over there, from the entrance of the temple, he actually walked in a way, like the way it's like the lion or a tiger which is seen as a vehicle of the goddess only. So he actually on his knees, he actually walked like an animal in a very fast way. His gait was very fast and he reached till the entrance of the temple premises. Now guys, over there when those guys were performing, whom we called as the jagri, when they were performing, there were like many people who were waking up from the crowd, and in the guise of being under the influence of a astral entity or the devata or the god, they were coming to the front of the place with that those guys were performing, and they were bowing their head in front of it. And like the way, guys, if you watch any of those zombie videos or the movies of apocalypse and all, you will definitely see the way when someone is under the influence of a spirit, you can definitely see that. And generally what happens is that those people who are performing over there, they have got this expertise that okay, this is how they have to invoke a certain god. They know about a certain level of mantras, like okay, if I need to invoke Lord Bhairav, then this is a specific chant for that. If I need to invoke the goddess, there is a specific chant for that. If we need to invoke Shiva or Veerbhadra, there is a specific chant for that, and that entity will come under the body of a person and it will start behaving. And guys, I remember there was like one time when this goddess Kali got in the physical existence of a lady. She was dancing, and when because I was right at the entrance of the temple. So again guys, over here, the one of the very distinctive part, the way I experienced this event was that everyone was sitting outside facing towards the temple, just because I was the part of the main family of the host who was conducting this whole ritual for the well-being of the whole village. I was inside the temple sanctum or the premises, so I was looking and observing all of their facial feature, the way their body language was, the way their face was, the way their whole fingers. It could be a case of a divine hypnosis, hypnotism, being possessed, which you can fairly see and observe in their body, in their faces. And I like whomsoever was taking the ashes in their hand and putting it on the forehead of majority of the participant who were being present over there. So even I went there, and the minute I touched the feet of that female who was dancing under the guise, under the influence or position of the goddess Kali, she put that kind of ashes on my forehead, and she said this thing. I still remember the lines, "Oh, so you are my strong devotee, huh?" I said, "Yes, mother." And then she predicted a couple of things. She said these things, and they were like very, very precise. And like I have not even shared that on that village during my those 3-day visit with anyone. And then later on I got to know this thing when I was asking about the jagris and all those people who were performing. When I asked about that, okay, what kind of expertise you need to have, then they told me that okay, these are those people, they have that kind of expertise being passed to them from their family, that they perform, they know about those specific mantras, they have done those sadhanas which are only needed and required to invoke the spirits in the body. And they were telling me that okay, just because Nippon, you witnessed this kind of event for the very first time, but trust me, we have seen the peak of it. We have seen the best of the performances, best of those rituals and all over there, you know, it's like it's the responsibility of that guy who's performing to invoke a god and give it a live test to the whole audience, that okay, I have invoked the goddess in that person, I have invoked Hanuman in that person, I have invoked the traces of the Lord Kal Bhairava in that person. In certain cases, if you will give them the oil, they will drink it. You will give them the black lentils, they will start eating it, unless and until you will not stop that person who is under the control of the god. And in certain cases, just to check that it is not a state of it's a state of emotional high, or a state of the hypnotism and all, they will even put a burning ambers in front, and they will ask that person who's performing in front of them that okay, touch it or hold it. And if that person is just under the influence of that psychological kind of, you know, peak, that person will not do it. But someone who is under the control of a god or a devata will immediately touch it, will immediately lift it. So these are certain things which I experienced for the very first time. And just because, guys, I was inside the temple premises, I was watching and looking at everyone's face, it was a definite and sure case of being under the influence or being controlled, possessed by a devata, by a god. Otherwise, it did not happen to me, and I will connect astrology with that. So yes, guys, the whole experience was very uplifting, just because I was sitting right in front of the murti of the Lord Kal Bhairava. So I was reciting the Kal Bhairava Ashtakam, the Bij mantra. Then I was also turning back, looking at people who were being under that influence, the way they were, that level of spiritual highness. And they're like certain people who, after when the spirit or that devata, when it got out of their body, you can see them so tired, so much fatigueness, sweat coming out of their whole body, and being under excruciating pain. Now guys, you must be wondering that at the beginning of this video I mentioned this thing, that it's going to be a 6-day long ritual. Why I only shared the schedule of the first 3 days? What happened with the rest of the days? So guys, we were being told at the beginning that in the last 3 days, like on the morning of the 4th day, they are going to be marking the boundaries of the whole village with it's a mixture which is being prepared with a sacred ash, milk and water. So that boundary means that all the devatas and the gods which have been invoked, now they are going to be restrained in that territory of the village to safeguard the interest of the village and the inhabitants of that village. So if you are within the premises of that boundary on the morning of the 4th day, then you have to stay within for the till the completion of the 6th day. Once you are over there and they have marked the boundary, then you cannot step out. So this was the whole kind of thing which I experienced, and I will recommend to all the Westerners and white people, because many people who come to India, they only come to visit Rishikesh, Haridwar, they do yoga, they do certain courses, certification there. So I do not know how many times someone would have mentioned this thing of that specific Jagran, which is generally done within the Garhwal, because I am from the Garhwal, within that Uttarakhand province. So have you ever attended any of those Jagran and Jagri performance? You would have seen that in any village gathering or ritual or not. But next time, if you are planning a visit to the Uttarakhand, to Haridwar, to Rishikesh and all, so do ask someone about attending a Jagran as well, taking place in any local village. You will definitely experience that. And yes guys, whomsoever was in that high, we were like kind of sprinkling that Ganga, holy water of the Ganges on them, Ganga Mata on them, in order to make them come out of that state of divine and spiritual ecstasy. So yes guys, this was the whole experience which I actually wanted to share. Now connecting astrology with it, how can we connect astrology? So guys, understand this thing, there are like 3 terms which you need to know. Very first thing is that which all people need to stay connected to their roots, like their Kul Devta, their village god, their Gram Devta and all. Like definitely that is one thing which everyone has to do, but in certain cases this becomes a very strong recommended remedy to you. So the very first thing which needs to be discussed or which needs to be taken out as an extract is which all people need to do these things, participate and stay very respectful towards these things. Second thing is that like those people who were performing jaggeries and all, which all houses and combinations can give you an expertise over these kind of ritual. Do you have that power that at your command you can invoke that devata, that god within a person? And the third thing is that, so we got to know about the process, the job responsibilities, we got to know about the employer, now we have to know about the employee. So which all people hold this capacity that they can act as a successful medium or conduit of being possessed by a devata or by a god. So the very first thing is that, so definitely guys, in any case, if you have the involvement of the 8th house, of the 12th house, and you have any Pitra dosha taking place in the 9th house, staying respectful towards your pitris, to your ancestors, to your village god becomes very important. No matter how many fastings you do, no matter how many pilgrimages you have done, but if you have any of the dosha which is taking place with the involvement of these three entities, 8th house, 12th house, Ketu, Saturn, Rahu, Saturn, Moon, Rahu taking place in the 9th house, asking or seeking refuge in your family devata or kul devata becomes very important. Along with that, let's say for example, any problem of the infertility, any problem of either not being able to get married or not being able to have a child on your own, so like seeking refuge in the devotion, in the worship of your kul devata, of your gram devata becomes very important. Understand this thing guys, it's your kul devata only which wants your lineage to carry on. Only if your kul devata is going to be somehow disgruntled or unhappy over you, at you, then only it will do its best that your lineage is not going to be carried forwarded. This could be a case, you might have done very good in your professional life, you might be succeeding in major areas of your life, but this aspect also becomes very important. And I guess this is what the nature wants out of all of us. Nature does not care whether you have 4 cars, you have 10 properties, how many titles you have. Nature just wants the sustenance of the nature through procreation. Because of that, this aspect, if in your case your suffering is around these areas, then doing the worship of your kul devata, tracing your roots, reaching to your ancestral places and asking for the devotion, doing the ritual becomes very, very important. Now comes the second part of today's discussion, which is about which all people hold this power to do all this kind of ritual, that you have this kind of shafa, you have this kind of power in your hand, in your speech, in your mantra, that you can invoke or conjure any spirit. Beyond doubt guys, it's the 8th house. And definitely guys, because the Soumya, the benefic planets do not have that much capacity to control these kind of spirit. I still remember, like there was this relative of mine only, my aunt only, when I asked her about, okay aunt, do you know that that day when it happened, when I saw that guy, the way that person was screaming, the way that person was walking and all, I can definitely see in the body language, in the gait, the presence of some god and all. Then to which my aunt said, no, it was not some important devata, god and all. It was just a lower astral being who just, because we were doing that ritual and all, we were invoking the spirits. So it was just the small god, small demigod who got possession over that person. It was not a very important god, it was just a smaller demigod. So definitely for someone to have that power to invoke these kind of spirit and all, it is difficult those things to be done with the involvement of like Mercury or Jupiter or the moon. You need very malefic planet for that. So specifically, if you have a very strong 8th house, and that house is becoming strong because of a strengthened Mars over there, because of a strengthened Saturn over there, because of a strengthened Rahu or Ketu in that house or the state of that house, definitely that is the only reason, guys. Majority of the tantrics are generally seen from the 8th house. So if you have malefic planets well placed, potent, strengthened in the 8th house, you have that capacity. Now guys, now comes the question. We got to know about the process, we got to know about the employer. Now we have to talk about the employee. So that only happens for people who are going to have a very ripe moon. Like the way, for example, your moon is close to the time of the full moon. Your moon is like exalted. It is placed in important nakshatras, like when we talk about Rohini, when we talk about nakshatras of both Rahu and Ketu, and specifically nakshatra of Rahu, which is the Satabhisha. When we talk about the, and over here guys as well. Now again, it all comes down to individual, and that is only where we say that the Gandamul dosha, like your moon being in the any of the Ketu or Mercury nakshatra, we say that okay, this is a affliction, this is a problem, because you remain very much open and subjected towards being controlled by the influence of the nature. Like if we will take a person who's going to have a Gandamul dosha in the chart, we will take that person to that sort of gathering and all. There's a very high possibility that that person is going to be taken control by a spirit. So that is the reason. So it all comes down to individual. You have a Kalsarp dosha, you are trying to establish your career in politics where the fortune fluctuates a lot. You have a kind of a Gandamul dosha, and you are trying to do something in the spiritual realm, in the realm of the art and creativity. So then you can also use that suffering or affliction to your advantage as well. It all comes down to your priorities and your life's undertakings. So yes guys, the way I was talking about that, if your moon is of full moon, your moon is exalted, it is in certain nakshatras like Rohini, like this could be Mula, this could be Sadbhisha, it is placed in the 12th house, then it's a strong possibility that yes, you could be a successful medium or conduit for the divine and astral entities and the energies to work through you. You can be used as a successful instrument. Like the way guys, even I was sitting there in the whole time, I am a very strong and staunch devotee of the Lord Kal Bhairava, but not even for a single point I got this feeling that I'm losing my control, or there's some extra astral entity which is trying to gain control over me, which is disturbing me. But those people who were in that trance, you will definitely see that they are definitely going to have their moon, their Ketu making some combination with the 12th house. Now guys, again over here as well, like the way I mentioned that people who do these kind of ritual, they invoke these kind of spirit. For that, involvement of 8th house, involvement of the malefic planets is needed. But for someone who has to be a successful medium or a conduit, over there the benefic planets play a very important role. Like you have moon and see, Ketu is an exception, but you have moon and Ketu, you have moon and Venus, you have Mercury, you have Jupiter, these kind of planets making some very good combination in the 12th house. Then yes, you could be used as a medium or an instrument over which the divine energies or the nature can work upon, can operate upon. Now that's a different case. If you have malefic planets in the 12th house influencing the moon, then you might also be seen as a very easy target for some sort of disgruntled demigods as well. But in majority of the cases, for someone to being taken control over or being under the position, 12th house plays a very important role, and moon making a connection over there becomes very important. So yes guys, there's still a lot to be shared. These were just few of the tidbits which I wanted to share, and if I'll experience something else, I will ensure to upload and share it with you guys as well. So, and one more thing guys which I want to highlight over here. So let's say for example, if you are in any part of the world, like you know, you have any connection with the native tribes in Brazil, this could be in Mexico, this could be in certain part within the India, in Canada, in US. So whatsoever rituals you have in your family, in your culture, which has to do with invoking these kind of energies and spirit and power, please share it in the comment section. So once again guys, for further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyavad.